I've been lucky enough to receive lots of good advice over many, many years now, but one that comes to mind from really one of the first psychologists I saw when I was a lot younger was that the way I think about things determines the way I experience the world, and I can change the way I think about things. So if I change the way I think about myself and the world, I effectively change the world. My name is Dr. Tim Sharp, sometimes known as Dr. Happy, and I'm the Chief Happiness Officer of the Happiness Institute. I'd like to achieve two things through this. One is to promote awareness of mental ill health and help people cope with that a bit better, but also promote more positivity and happiness through the science of positive psychology. I define happiness in two ways. One is it's one form of positive emotion. So along with joy and satisfaction and calm and contentment, happiness is a form of feeling good. But at another level, happiness is a way of living a good life. And that includes positive emotions, but it's also about having meaning and purpose and connection and a bunch of other things that are deeper and more enduring than those fleeting positive emotions. Is it essential? No, because you can live a miserable life if you like, but if you want to live a good life, then positive emotions are an important part of that. Well, if you want to create more enduring, real and meaningful happiness, one of the first things you can do is educate yourself about what really does contribute to happiness, as opposed to what we sometimes think does, but doesn't really work as well. So wealth and success, for example, aren't bad things, but they don't contribute as much deep and meaningful joy and satisfaction as we often think they do. If, on the other hand, we focus on connection, on health and well-being, on pursuing really meaningful goals, having meaning and purpose in our lives, and we know for a fact that those things will provide a lot more bang for buck. Well, if we look at the research across a number of different disciplines, the mental health research, positive psychology research, the health research, and even the longevity research, the most significant finding is that other people matter, that the power of positive relationships is more important than almost anything else. So we really do need to put these things first, but what we also need to do is constantly review them, because our lives do change and our relationships change, and if we're not reviewing them, we don't know necessarily whether they're still right just because they were a year or so ago. Well, one of the things that's important to remember is that stress and anxiety are perfectly normal human emotions. We all have them, and we should have them. They're appropriate and reasonable at times, but we don't want them to become overwhelming. And one of the things we can do to prevent or protect against stress and anxiety becoming overwhelming is to promote positivity and happiness in our lives as much as possible, because again, that provides like a protective layer around us. One of the great things that's come out of the positive psychology research is that we have a bunch of practical strategies we can all learn and practice and master. So it is possible to become happier. It is possible to build resilience, to build hope and optimism, all of which are vitally important for good mental health. What we need to do is understand what those things are, is to try them out and work out what works for us, because different things will work for different people, and then to really prioritize them the same way we prioritize other health and well-being strategies like brushing our teeth. So we all brush our teeth at least once or twice a day. If we could do the same thing for mindfulness practice or meditation or gratitude or reaching out and connecting with friends, if we could just spend a couple of minutes each day on those positive habits, we'd all benefit immeasurably. So sometimes just repetition and building that habit will work, but we also need to continually review what we're doing and what's working and what's not working. So, for example, as much as we know that mindfulness and meditation can be helpful, not everyone likes it, or it doesn't work as well for everyone. As much as we know that gratitude practice is really helpful, it doesn't necessarily work the same way for everyone. So what we need to do is continually revise and review and fine-tune until we have the things that really work for us. And even when we do have that, we still need to spice it up with some variety every now and then, because even the best things can become boring. So variety is the spice of life. Change it up, do it in a slightly different way so it's still interesting and useful. We don't always see or feel the real consequences, the positive consequences, but if we can remind ourselves why we're doing it, that this is useful, that this will benefit me, maybe not today, but next year, in 10 years' time, then that can be helpful as well. know from the research that meaning and purpose are vitally important to real happiness, to thriving and flourishing, and to resilience, because that's what can get us through some of the darkest times in our lives. People talk about finding purpose or pursuing purpose. It's not something you find, it's something, when we look at the research, it's something people create. We actively create, and we need to keep recreating it each and every day, each and every year. Most people don't know exactly what's going on when they're younger. I certainly didn't, and it's not really unusual. It's unrealistic to expect that you'll have all the answers as a teenager or even in your 20s. But what I'd say is try it. Trial and error, experimentation, these are normal parts of youth, and there should be. They're good things. You'll make mistakes, you'll get lost along the way, but that's okay. Learn from them, and then hopefully each time you try something, you get closer and closer. One of the other things people can do is look towards their heroes or people they admire and say, what is it about that person that I admire? What are they doing? And could I copy or imitate some of that, even if I do it in my own way? These can all take you closer and closer to where you eventually want to get to. What I'd say to people that are feeling lonely is I can relate, and I think we all can in some way or other, and we've all felt lonely at times, we've all felt isolated, we've all felt separated from the world in different ways, I suppose. So it's a very common feeling, and what that means in a sense is that even though we all feel alone, we're not, because other people are feeling the same things. So our perceptions are often a bit distorted, it often seems a lot worse than it really is. There's almost always people out there ready and willing to help if only you'll let them. So reach out, ask for help, keep trying if it doesn't work. If you don't get the response you like, then try another person, try again, because it really is worth it.